Hello students, you are welcome to LODS lecture series. I will be taking you through a quick tour on SS3 Managerial Economics. This video is for study session 3, Theory of Demand. This is the second part of the Theory of Demand in this module. Do enjoy your learning as you are following me in this video. Introduction. Recall from the previous study session where you learn about the meaning and concept of demand. This study session will serve as a concluding part of the theory of demand and is going to focus basically on type of demand and elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded to any change in price. In this study session, you will be introduced to the various types of demand. You will also learn about the elasticity of demand and its various types. Let's quickly run through the learning outcome for this study session. At the end of this study session, you should be able to explain the various types of demand, discuss the importance of and determinant of elasticity of demand, and highlight the different types of elasticity of demand. Types of demand. There are a large quantity of goods and services available in every economy. Their classification is very essential in order to carry out a meaningful demand analysis from managerial decisions. Similarly, an understanding of demand at various levels of aggregation is inevitable for decision-making purposes. The various types of classification of demand can be explained through the diagram displayed on the slide. As you can see on the slide, we have the diagram that is telling us the different types of demand, which are direct demand, joint demand, composite demand, derived demand, and competitive demand. Let's now explain them one after the other. Joint demand. When two or more commodities are jointly demanded at the same time to satisfy a purpose or want, it is called joint or complementary demand. Demand, for example, demand for milk and tea, demand for bread and butter are examples of the joint demand. The second one is composite demand. Composite demand applies to commodities which have several uses or are demanded for several or different purposes. For example, wood can be used to produce furniture, table, chair, bed, window, cabinet, door, and other items like that. Derived demand. When the demand for a commodity is derived from the demand for the final commodity, that commodity is said to have become derived demand. Tire may be demanded for the purpose of using it for a car. The car owner demands for tire and not for its own sake. Here, the demand for tire is derived from the demand for a car. Demand for tire is therefore a derived demand. The next one is competitive demand. Commodities are substituted if one can be used in place of the other. Substitute goods serve the same purpose and therefore compete for the consumer income. They are said to have competitive demand because of the fact that they compete for the consumer's income. Examples of substitute goods are Milo and Bournvita, butter and margarine, and some other items like that. A change in the price of one affects the demand for the other. The last one is direct demand. Demand for a commodity which is for direct consumption is called direct demand. Example is food and clothes. Elasticity of demand. In economics, the demand elasticity refers to how sensitive the demand for goods is to change in other economic variables. Economic demand elasticity is important because it helps firms model the potential change in demand due to change in price of the goods, the effect of change in price of other goods, and many other important market factors. A firm understanding of demand elasticity helps to guide firms towards more optimal competitive and behavior. Importance of elasticity of demand. Some of the importance of elasticity of demand are 1. Formulation of government policy. 2. Factor pricing. 3. Decision of monopolies. 4. Production decision. 5. International trade. And the last one, which is number 6, is pricing, price discrimination. Let's now talk about them one after the other. Formulation of government policy. The concept of price elasticity of demand is important for formulating government policy, especially the taxation policy. Government can impose higher tax on goods with inelastic demand, whereas low rate of tax are imposed on commodity with elastic demand. The second one is factor pricing. Price elasticity of demand help in determining the price to be paid to the factor of production. Share of each factor in the national product is determined in proportion to its demand in the productive activities. If demand for a particular factor is inelastic as compared to the other factor, then it will attract more reward. The next one is decision of monopolies. A monopolist considers the nature of demand while fixing price of its product. If demand for the product is elastic, then he will fix low price. However, if demand is inelastic, then he is in a position to fix high price. The next one is production decision. Producers generally decide their production level on the basis of demand for their product. Hence, elasticity of demand helps to fix the level of output. The next one is international trade. In order to fix price of the goods to be exported, it is important to have knowledge about the elasticity of demand for such goods. A country may fix higher prices for the product with inelastic demand. The last one is price discrimination. A manufacturer can fix a higher price for the products which have inelastic demand and lower price for products which have elastic demand. Determinants of elasticity of demand. The elasticity of demand for a given good is determined by one or a combination of the following factors. 1. Availability of substitute goods. 2. Degree of necessity. 3. Extent of definition of good. 4. Brand loyalty. And the last one is income level. Availability of substitute goods. The more possible substitutes for a given good and services, the greater the elasticity. When several close substitutes are available, consumers can easily switch from one good to another, even if there is only a small change in price. Equally, if no substitutes are available, demand for a good is more likely to be inelastic. The second one is degree of necessity. The greater the necessity for a good, the lower the elasticity. Consumers will attempt to buy necessary products regardless of the price. Luxury products, on the other hand, tend to have great elasticity of demand. However, some goods that initially have a low degree of necessity are habit-forming and can become necessary to consumer, e.g. coffee and cigarettes. The next one is extent of definition of a good. The broader the definition of a good, the lower the elasticity. For example, potato chips have a relatively high elasticity of demand because many substitutes are available. Food in general will have an extremely low price elasticity of demand because no substitute exists. The next one is brand loyalty. An attachment to a certain brand, either out of tradition or other means, can override sensitivity to price change, resulting in more inelastic demand. The last one is income level. Income level also influences the elasticity, e.g. rich man will not curtail the consumption of quantity of fruit, milk, etc., even if their price rises, but a poor man will not follow it. Classification of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand can be studied under the following category. 1. Price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand, advertisement elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand shows the relationship between the price and quantity demanded and provides a precise calculation of the effect of a change in price on quantity demanded. Type of price elasticity of demand. There are 5 types of price elasticity of demand, which include perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, relative elastic demand, relative inelastic demand, and unitary elastic demand. These are the numerical representation or expression. For perfectly elastic demand, we have infinity. For perfectly inelastic demand, we have 0. For relatively elastic demand, we have less than 1. For and greater than 1. For relatively inelastic demand, we have greater than 1. Unitary elastic demand, we have 1. Let's now explain them briefly one by one. Perfectly elastic demand. When a small change in price leads to infinite change in quantity demanded, it is referred to as perfectly elastic demand. Perfectly inelastic demand. In this case, the change in price will not affect the quantity demanded and quantity remain the same whatever the change in price. Relatively elastic demand. This is a situation where a small change in price leads to very big change in quantity demanded. Relatively inelastic demand. Here, quantity demanded change is less than proportional to change in price. A large change in price leads to small change in demand. In this case, demand curve will be steeper. The last one, which is unitary elastic. This occurs when the change in demand is exactly equal to the change in price. When both are equal, it is elastic. The elastic is said to be unitary. Income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand is measure of how much demand for a good or services change relatively to a change in income, with all other factors remain the same. Income elasticity of demand can be classified into 4 categories, which are zero income elasticity of demand, negative income elasticity of demand, positive income elasticity of demand, and unit income elasticity of demand. Let us explain them briefly, one after the other. Zero income elasticity of demand. Under this, quantity demanded remain the same even though income increases. That is, change in the income does not affect the quantity demanded. Examples of this commodity include sugar and soap. The next one is negative income elasticity of demand. In this case, when income increases, quantity demanded goes down. Examples of this kind of commodity are inferior goods. It is always less than 0. The next one is positive income elasticity of demand. In this case, an increase in income may lead to an increase in the quantity demanded. That is, when income rises, demand also rises. It is also greater than 0. Unit income elasticity of demand. In this situation, demand change in the same proportion with the income and it is also equal to 1. Cross elasticity of demand. Cross elasticity of demand is the proportional change in the quantity demanded of a commodity in response to change in the price of another related commodity. Cross elasticity of demand can be calculated by the formula you are seeing on this slide. Cross elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity over percentage change in the price of related commodity. Advertisement elasticity of demand. Advertisement elasticity of demand is a measure of an advertisement campaign effectiveness in generating new sales. It can be calculated by this formula you are seeing on the slide. Advertisement elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in sales over percentage change percentage change in price. Percentage change in sales over percentage increase in advertising expenditure. Determinant of advertisement elasticity. There are various determinants of advertisement elasticity of demand, which are type of commodity, market share, rival reaction, and state of economy. We have come to the end of this study session. Hope you enjoy. We have come to the end of this video. Hope to see you next class when we will be discussing the demand estimate and demand forecasting. Thank you for listening.